Come. The fire burning red and a Joshua representing of a comes hard here. You know. Big up Kidaki. Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like come son. Red.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money never, money never, money never, money never, money not know what you can I be. Money never, money never, money you can keep, you can even money. When you've been knocked for a bum, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money down, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money down, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money never, money never, money, money never, money now know what you conniving money. Neighbor joker, neighbor joker, neighbor joker. That's all the money that me walk. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk. I said money never, money never, money never, money. I don't want you can I be money. Oh Joseph.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Comes TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see. Sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, with Jah as ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. Stop fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. people. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, they got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam, Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London, Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews, Big Up Paslow, Poor People Governor, Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson, Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Quinton Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North. You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Ramvelt Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Mama, I dedicate this song to you. Wherever you day, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Show Mama the love and adoration she deserves. Celebrate Mother's Day at Club Twilight with a special brunch for all the wonderful mothers. Enjoy a festive atmosphere, complimentary cocktails, and surprises starting from 11 a.m. Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call 622-5933 and don't miss the opportunity to show Mama how much you love her.
Comes out your son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
So it's Wednesday, and we're going to talk about the man who got his degrees in the UK. So morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is 7 hours 27. Welcome to the program. It's Wednesday. It's the day when we usually have the doctor in the house, real doctors. Professor David Hines, a man who got his degrees and read for his doctorate and so on and so forth. He didn't get no honorary convocation. I'm walking around with it and all the way. I'm doctor. Right, so we got a real doctor. Is it doctor of the arts? In the house. We got a doctor. Not people walking around with honorary titles. So it's Wednesday, and we're going to talk with Dr. Hines, as is usual. But how you been? How was you yesterday? Yesterday we had some rain. We had a total shutdown yesterday for several times because it happened while we were on program, and then shortly after the lights returned, and then it happened again. And I can't count the number of times that it happened, but we had blackout several times. Lo and behold, I saw a headline this morning or something saying that the power boat is going to end the blackout woes. I wonder what time when we're going to get the power boat connected to the interconnected system. And let's see. Because my understanding, I think I mentioned this previously, is that GPL is currently producing less than 50% of the electricity that is required to power the nation. Right? Less than 50% of the electricity that is required to power the nation, despite the fact that they bought, what was it, 7 or 17 second-hand generators. Imagine governments buying second-hand stuff when they have access to money. Many of us who live in our homes don't like second-hand stuff because we tell ourselves they've almost lived out all of their lives already. And so it's better to make the sacrifice and buy something new. But no, this government believes in second-hand stuff. Good. Nevertheless, I hope you are well. I hope you had a good and successful day yesterday. I hope you achieve your goals. I hope you have renewed your energies and you've rededicated yourself to fighting this wickedness that we have for government and ensuring good governance in this country. Welcome to the program. Dr. Hines, welcome to the Guyanese Morning Time. How are you?
Morning. I'm all right.
Well, last week we had a little mix-up, so I took responsibility for that. I was idling. Well, not idling. I was focused on other things, and then I realized, oh shoot, Dr. Hines should have been here. And when I came on, I saw that you were here, but I unfortunately was not here in a timely manner. Nevertheless, you are here this week, and we have a lot of things to talk about. Sometimes you ask, where do I start? There's so many things to talk about. But the hottest news in the newspaper, well, in making the hottest news, making the rounds right now, is the PPP's Congress. You've seen the results of the Congress. You've heard the utterings at the Congress. Just last evening, I saw apparently a member of the PPP, a live video saying they do not support the presence of Nigel Dharamlal in the PPP Central Committee, I think, because of those rape allegations. At least some woman in the PPP has the temerity to speak out against what she considers an ill choice, ill pick for the leadership of the PPP. And what are your thoughts on the conference? Let's zoom in, for example, on the fact that the PPP, according to Jagan, is supposed to be an all-inclusive party. But in the election of 30-something persons, there are only maybe about 3 elected Afro-Guyanese, and then a further hand-picked 4 Afro-Guyanese without voting rights. As I said in an earlier program, that's a good indication of where African Guyanese stand in the PPP, present but has no voice. Your thoughts on it, on the Congress?
Good morning again, and good morning to the viewers. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't pay attention to something like that. I expect that the PPP would have 2 or 3 Africans at most in their central committee. That's not an issue. It is only an issue because the PPP has made heavy weather about them being the most multiracial party in the country, and Jagdio speaks specifically about the number of African Guyanese. He said even Jagan couldn't bring African Guyanese into the party, and he has done so. And so because of this boast of how many African Guyanese and how multiracial the party is, one looks for those things. Normally I wouldn't look for it, and I wouldn't even, criticize the PPP for not having many African Guyanese in their central committee. After all, the majority of delegates and members of the party are Indo-Guyanese, and you choose your executive from what you have. And your executive reflects in many regards the identity of your party. So under normal circumstances, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't make a lot of noise. But because of the boast, I looked for it, and I saw 3 African Guyanese, well, 2 that I know, and that is Jennifer Westford and Kwame McCoy. And then there is somebody named Sarah Brown. I don't know. It could be an Amerindian, it could be an African, but let's say it's an African. It's 3 out of 35, and 3 out of 35 is less than 10% of the delegates. In fact, it is about 7% of the members, represent 7% of the members of the Central Committee. And again, that should not be surprising. It should not be surprising if 7 members of the PPP Central Committee are Africans, but here is this man telling us how African Guyanese are going over to the party and it's the most multiracial. And then when it comes to power, because the Central Committee is the second most powerful organ in the party, when it comes to power, you can only have 3 out of 35. And then you have 5 non-voting, and you put in some Africans there. So they're there for window dressing, as we are saying. And so in that regard, the PPP is exposing its own self, for what it is. They're making a mockery of black people. That's what it is. That's what it is. And then they elected, from the 35, they chose 15 people for the executive. So of the 35, they chose 15 for the executive. You know how many Africans are in the 15? Can you make a guess?
I would average none.
0. Not one black man or woman in that executive is black. Again, I wouldn't make noise over that, because why should it be surprising? It's like saying I'm surprised if the majority of people in the central executive of the PNC is black. That's the reality of their politics. So here you have them talking about how they love black people and black people in the party and all of that thing and so on. And 7% of the Central Committee is black, and 0 in the executive. 0. What it means is that none of the 3 members of the Central Committee made it onto the executive. So really, as I said, what that reflects is that they're making black people a puppy show. That's what they're doing. And it conforms what people like myself have been saying. And that is that when they come into the black community, they come into the black community to raid our people, to use them as props. Because that's what it is. They want to use them as props. So all those people all those black people there who went to the Congress, they were just being used as props. When it comes to choosing the powerful people, they're not in the mix. They're not in the mix. So, that speaks for itself. The other thing, of course, is the removal of socialism and Marxism-Leninism from the constitution of the party, and replacing, but they keep this concept of democratic centralism. And democratic centralism is more centralism than democratic, meaning that the power in the party lies at the center. The center is it's the executive and the central committee. And they kept that, and democratic centralism is a socialist, not socialism, Marxist-Leninist. It's a Marxist-Leninist concept. The whole concept of democratic centralism is something that was part of Communist Party. So you are removing socialism and Marxism-Leninism, but you are leaving the principle of Marxism-Leninism, which is democratic centralism. The organizing principle, you're leaving it there. Again, you're fooling, you're seeking to fool people. And, one of the problems they have with those of us on this side of the aisle is that we are able to see through the fooling that they're doing and to educate our people about it. They're so angry because they really feel that black people don't got sense. And so part of the problem with what we're doing here and the programs that we do, and educating our people, is to tell our people, these people are making you all asses, and they don't like that, So yeah, so that those are the highlights, and then they are the skit there making fun of the teachers, and the actors and actresses in the skit are mostly East Indians, making fun of teachers, ridiculing the teachers, again, the disrespectful teachers, disrespectful black, and you're saying you want our votes, and you're blatantly disrespecting us. You see, it's real pitiful, but it shows you the true colors of the party. And that is why we have to call a spade a spade. And I have recently been very critical of friends in the PNC who continue to talk around the issue of race. And Norton broke away from that last week when he came out in support of the boycott in New York and really made a clear statement where he stands on the oppression and discrimination of black people. And you have to do that. I noticed in today's Chronicle, my erstwhile friend Freddie Kissoon names Bork, Ben Sharp, Takumo Gunse, and myself as what he called the lunatic fringe, and saying that we don't have any responsibility to the electorate, and so we can take positions, and that he's surprised that Norton came out in support of the boycott because it will hurt him electorally. It kind of nonsense. Look, people are suffering. The parties using the government and the state to hammer people because of their ethnicity. And you're telling me about electoralism? So you are telling Norton that Norton must throw black people under the bus, must stand by while black people are being hammered just to win an election? That's what you're saying? That's what you're saying? Well, look, I want, when the history of this period to be written, I don't care what they call me. When the history of this period is be written, it was said that David Hines saw black people being taken advantage of and he stood up for them. And if that means that he don't get any vote, so be it. I am not trading black people dignity, black people human rights for any stupid vote. I rather don't get votes and black people keep their dignity and their human rights. And I want to say that very clear to them. When the history of this period is written, let it be said that black people were being hammered by the PPP and David Hines stood up for them and said, to damn if I lose votes because of that. Because of the dignity of people, whether black people, brown people, red people, white people, their dignity was worth more than a vote and 2 votes. And to try to corner the PNC in a corner with that vote talk, if the PNC want to fall fit, that's their business. As I said last night on my program, the PNC with their dilly-dallying on this question of beating up of black people, they're putting black people in danger. Because the beating up black people are getting, if the PNC come out and says, stop it, it will stop. If the PNC comes out and say, stop it now, it will stop. They have in their pockets 200,000 votes. They have in their pockets all the money that black people get to give, they give it to them. So black people give them their bodies, they give them whatever little money they get. And if they want to trade that for a couple of votes, so be it. But I'm saying, if the PNC stop their dilly-dallying, stop fighting up, you look, what's happening in the PNC is normal in any party that has democratic elections. Once you have democratic elections, people are going to compete against each other. So I don't have a problem with that. But in the process of competing with each other, you cannot throw your supporters to the wolves. You cannot throw the support you're supposed to the wolves because you want to win the leadership of a party and want to get a couple crossover votes. Black people are worth more than the leadership of a party and a couple crossover votes from other ethnic groups. I'm insulted as a black man for somebody to tell me that my people's homes must be bulldozed. They must be shot and killed by the police. They must be they must be denied proper wages and salary. And I can't stand up and defend them because I am fearful that I will lose 2 Indian votes. It's a grave insult. And those in the PNC who are going with that, at some point we will have to deal with them. I'm making that very clear. At some point, when all of this is over, we will have to deal with those in the PNC who are prepared to sacrifice black people's lives. This is about lives and livelihood for a couple of so-called crossover votes. At some point, we will have to deal with them. As a people, as a black people.
And deal with them we should. You've touched there, in essence, on the call for boycott. And I've seen there are several PNC members as you've gone there, leading PNC members, I dare say, who actually are critical of the call for boycott. Any choice words to them?
I already said they're silly.
Very well.
And with all due respect, I love young Figueroa, and I think I read in the Chronicle this morning that Sandy also was criticizing. I didn't see Sandy's criticism. They're just being silly. They're just being silly. That's what it is. And I say that with much love. There comes a time when the lives of people, this is about people's life. We are walking around with our lives, but Boston family doesn't have him, Twin Bacchus family doesn't have their son, their father, their nephew, their grandson. And you are talking about we shouldn't boycott because those up there in Brooklyn are holding the hand and shaking the hand of those who pulled the trigger against them, because the intellectual authors of the murder of those young men, of the beating up of those women and the houses, the intellectual authors are the people who they're hugging up in Brooklyn. They are the ones who are the intellectual authors. They're the ones who pulled the trigger intellectually. The police did it. But it's those who run the government who have done that, and they go there and you hug them up and you must not be punished. Punish them. Punish them. And those who are saying that they're just being silly, and at some point in the black community will have to deal with people like them. I'm saying to my young brothers and so on, cut it out, because at some point we will deal with you all.
I mean, you describe it as selfishness, as silliness. Is it really silliness, or is it selfishness on the part of these?
No. I am not going to selfishness, my brother. You know I'm a political man. I don't go personal.
All right,
I don't go personal. They have been silly.
Let's talk.
They have been politically silly.
Let's talk more politics. We've seen the Congress. We've seen the. I remember growing up and hearing the PPP cry out against the PNC and talk about paramounts of the party and misuse of state funds for party purposes and so on. This last Congress was held. The PPP had the East Coast and Georgetown police in line. There was a big fallout, I can tell you, between the East Coast commander and the deputy East Coast commander in terms of signing that order for the alignment. They sent home all the students from the GSA dorms so that they can house their delegates there. They commandeered the Northwest Ferry to transport only delegates from that district. They flew the party flag on the building that is currently being used as the National Assembly. I would say a total misuse of state assets. And let me just put it on as poor governance, taking an unfair advantage in the political process. You have been through the years of the PNC. You're present in the time of the PPP. What comparisons, if any, or what observations you have to share with us on that misuse of state assets?
Let me answer it this way. I'm on record as saying, and I'm going to say it again here this morning, whatever happened under the Granger administration, and the Granger people are the ones who have to go out and sell what happened, what they did, and what they did for Guyana and all that kind of stuff. That's not me business. That's they, because I was not an integral part of the government. They have to, but I'm on record, and I'm going to say it again. Granger administration is the only administration in post-colonial Guyana in which the human rights abuses, the authoritarian abuses were toned down. And I'm saying it again this morning. Those who were part of the Granger administration should take a bow for that. They toned down. I'm not saying that there wasn't any state abuses, any government abuse. There was. Invariably governments abuse their power. That is why in political science we say sometimes that, government is, some people think is a necessary good. Some people think it's an unnecessary good. And some people think that is a necessary bad. Because governments, by their very nature, they have power. A lot of power they dispose. And human beings, by our nature, when you give us plenty power, we use it. So when we're in charge of government with unlimited power, we use it. And so, yes, under Granger, the misuse of state power was decreased. And I am prepared to back that up with evidence. The misuse of state power was decreased. And so I'm answering your question about the PPP doing what they said the PNC did, and the PNC did fly flags over the appeal court, and in our day we opposed that, including the PPP. But the PPP that opposed the flying of flags on state buildings by the PNC is not the present PPP. It was the Jagan PPP that opposed that. This present PPP is not Jagan PPP. This present PPP is a bunch of rascals, political rascals. And their modus operandi is that if the PNC did it, then we are justified in doing it. And it's not bad when we do it. We are going to do the same thing that the PNC is doing. We are not bad because, as I said, the PPP believes in manifest destiny. They believe that their group and their party were sent by God to govern over the rest of us. And so even when they do the bad things that we would have done, they are justified because they are inherently good and the rest of us are inherently bad. So the PNC is inherently bad. You heard Jagan. He said last week, the PNC governs by fear. It instills fear in its supporters. And then he said, we also use fear, but our fear is fear of rigged elections. And he justified the PPP's fear. So if you're saying both sides do bad things, but one side, bad, is unjustified and our side, bad, is justified, you are saying then that our value systems are different. The value system you put on the PNC people, black people, is different than the value system you put on PPP people, Indian people. And that's why they will kill me if they get a chance, because I am not going to sit around like the PNC people and talk foolishness. I'm going to tell them the reason behind what you're doing is that you do not believe that black people are quality human beings. That is the only reason you can justify doing the same thing that the PNC did and say that you doing it is different from their doing it. Even under Jagan, they said the 1980 Constitution, what they call the Burnham Constitution, is not bad. They never said that we and the WP and them a big fight over it, because the WPA said the Constitution was bad. Jagan PPP said the Constitution wasn't bad. His Burnham was bad. And that is why they've kept the Constitution, most of it, up to today. They honestly believe that they're a higher quality of human beings than black people. And so therefore, when they do bad things, they're ordained by God to do it, and the rest of us, black people, are ordained by the devil. That is why they can rig the hell out of the 2020 election and then watch us in the face and tell us that we rig election or attempt to rig election. Let it go to hell. A bunch of racist rascals. And that is where we have to put them. We have to send them to the political hell.
Thank you. You differentiated the PPPs as in Jagan PPP and this bunch of hustlers. I noticed coming out of the Congress, what people might say the Jaganites didn't fare well in those managed elections. Have the Jaganites been annihilated from the party?
Long time. It was just formalized. I see I think it's the Kaito News this morning, as in the talk off, left off, they said the death is announced. The burial of Jagan. Oh yes, they've moved on from Jagan a long time. They've now formalized it. They have moved on from Jagan a lot. Things come into being and things go out of being. Jagan is gone. And look, under normal circumstances, one should not quarrel with that. Because, things come into being and things go out of being. There are principles one holds very strongly to at a certain point. And then as conditions change, one has to pivot and adjust the condition. And so nothing is wrong in moving on. That is why we as political people have to always keep adjusting ourselves to changes. And the world that Jagan confronted, that world has moved on. And so in many regards, yes, one should not quarrel if the party has modified its approach to the world. But this is not a modification of Jagan's philosophy and Jagan's practice. That's a modification. This is a burial of Jagan's philosophy. This is the burial of Jagan's philosophy. And that is what you are seeing. It's not an adjustment. Taking Jagan's philosophy, taking Jagan's praxis, and adjust it to all parties have to adjust to the new environment. But the PPP is not adjusting. They have thrown away everything that Jagan stood for. And then they would look at people like me and say, Rodney, and look, you all throw away everything that Rodney stood for. How do they know that? Oh, you all join with the PNC. Damn fools. Rascals.
And so some people might have taken what I want to say comfort in at least knowing that there were some Jaganites still in the party who might have held sway, if I can call it that, and give some direction to the party or exert some level of control of quote unquote the madness. What are the implications of them being forced out now?
They're not forced out, they're there. Ramatar barely got on to the Central Committee. Rohi barely got on. Injot and Paul barely got on. But both Ramatar and Rohi are on the executive. So they're among the 15. And so it's a way the party work. I think is Fenton Ramsey has said way back, when in 1959 they vote out all the black people from the election, from the party executive, 1959. Quayana writing in Your Nation, he calls it the rot in the PPP. Jagan was out of the country when he came back. He scrapped the elections. And for example, Balam Singh Rai was elected as a chairman, and he overturned the election and gave the chairmanship to Brindy Ben. And so in putting Rohi and Ramatar in the executive, what they're doing is trying to smart people to say, look, all you all say we push out the old guard. Look, they're in the executive. Before them, you humiliate them by putting Rohi at 34. He barely get on, and you put him on the executive. In order to push back against people like myself who are going to point and say, look what you've done to the old guard. So the whole thing is trickery. That's what it is. It's trickery.
Thank you, Dr. Hines. Usually, from my observation, once the PPP's Congress is held, the PPP is in full campaign mode thereafter. So I would say that officially the full campaign mode for the elections have started. We still have some outstanding issues, like what is happening at GCOM. Is it the right time to up the ante for biometrics and clean voters list?
But I don't know what you mean by up the ante.
Well, increase the fight, enlarge the fight.
You mean bring people on the streets?
Yes, very well.
Yes.
Do you see that happening?
No, don't ask me to be a Obi man. No, I tell you what should happen. No, you're asking me if it's going to happen.
If one were to look into the future, listening to Ari Norton's discourse of the boycott and so on and so forth, do you think he's at that place now where he is?
My brother, there are several elements that have to come to play in order to move the struggle to another level.
What are some of those?
There are responsibilities of the leadership, the party, and the masses. Whether because the party need to bring the masses on the street. If the masses are going to come on the street, they have to feel that the party is going to protect them. When I was a small boy, and I would leave Buxton as a little teenager and come down to town to protest. When I look up, I used to see Rodney and Quyan and Clive Thomas and Andaye and all of them out there up front, fighting up front. And I felt protected. You see, when you are out there as the masses, you have to feel protected because you know you're coming up against the might of the state. And you have to feel protected. So when one is talking about protest, one is talking about a relationship between leadership and followership. The leadership has to believe that it can convince the followership to come on the road. And the followership has to believe that if it comes on the road, that the leadership will protect it. And when you have that synthesis, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be the real deal. Other than that, what you will have is either the leadership going off on its own. In the old days, they used to call it adventurism, or the masses going off on their own. And they would call that anarchy. But either way, whether the leadership and the followership come together and move the struggle, or the leadership go off on its own, or the masses go off on its own, the time is nigh. The teachers have shown when there is a synthesis between leadership and followership, because the teachers' union were directed by the followership to call the strike. So the teachers knew, the teachers' union knew that it had the backing of its members. And the members, when they look at the militancy of a Coretta McDonald, they know that at least part of the leadership of the teachers' union, it was out there to protect them. People say Coretta crazy, she the stock will come to she mouth, but sometimes you have to talk tough in order to give your followers confidence. And what Coretta McDonald does is that she gives her followers confidence that she's out there and she's going to protect them. Call she crazy, call she, thing, she's playing an essential role in bringing the two elements of a mass struggle together. That is the leadership and the followership. The followership has to have confidence that the leadership is going to be out there protecting them, and the leadership has to have things that the followership is going to be out there following them. And the teachers have shown when that synthesis comes together, what can happen. So I'm talking here struggle, and the art of struggle, and the science of struggle, and the spirit of struggle. I'm not looking into a crystal ball, as you tend to want me to do sometimes. You mean well, but
And so that we have gone, we're talking about the teachers. A lot of people are complaining or highlighting the fact that the PPP displayed some level of crassness at the very Congress. Apart from Ali trying to imitate the Michael Jacksons of the world and so on, we saw that skit that really was in poor taste, mocking the teachers' strike, and considering the fact that up until now the government has not really shown any inclination of willingness to return to the table as a form of collective bargaining with the teachers. The teachers have decided that they're going to go back on the streets as of Thursday. You think that skit has any has contributed to that decision, or it was?
No. The teachers took that decision a long time ago. No skit should send you on the road. The general council instructed the leadership of the union, and they said since about 3 or 4 weeks ago that they're going back on strike, and they did what they needed to do. They wrote the government. The government has not responded. The government finally said at its Congress that it is not going to negotiate with them from 2019. It's only from 2024. So they slammed the door in their faces, and the teachers are on good grounds.
Should there be any change in strategy from the last strike to this one?
No, I don't. I'm not going to go there, Brother Kadapi. If I think there should be a change of strategy, I'm going to call my friends in the leadership of the teachers union and tell them. I won't do it on a program.
Thank you. It's now 7 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. I see a lot of people have been trying to say some things. The phone has been going off. The messages have been coming in, and so let's turn to. I see a voice. Okay, let's hear what it has to say.
Good morning to Dr. Hines and Dr. Kadaki. Dr. Hines, I want to ask you a few questions. Do you think the PPP would call snap election before the constitution reform is enacted? And what do you think constitution reform would have on the DPP and the voters list? Thank you.
I don't think there will be constitution reform, any meaningful constitutional reform. I'm very glad that they set up the committee, but I think they're going to go through the motions because the committee is stacked with PPP people to ensure that there are no meaningful reform. I think if I can go into the PPP's head, they will want to go to the election saying that they did constitutional reform. In that regard, I don't think they will call an election before the committee does its work. And here is why I'm saying that. I could be wrong, because in politics, political parties do what they got to do to survive, right? I think the constitutional reform is not for us, Guyanese. It's not for the people in Guyana. It's for the external forces. It's for the Americans and the Canadians and the other forces out there. They're going through the motions of constitutional reform to satisfy them. Because remember, it's the United Nations, the Americans, and so on, who are saying, look, we don't have a level playing field when it comes to election. GCOM is dysfunctional. So I think the whole notion of constitutional reform is meant for that audience and not for us. And so they would want to go through the motions before they call an election. So my long answer to your short question is that I don't think they will snap an election. They will at least make sure they go through the constitutional reform. They may concede to some small things without a fight. They will concede to big things. If we go on the road and close down the country, then they will have to come to the table and talk real constitutional reform. But if there is no upsurge, they're going to give some little small things. They may give biometrics, but they may give a watered down biometrics, and so on. They will play games with the constitutional reform. Because remember, it is not meant for us. It is meant for the external forces.
Thank you. Caller, your life. Caller. Caller, your life.
Morning.
Sometimes, concerning the last two that they had for the country, that was a real touchy one. A lot of us was being able to commit how clean and how good we feel with how God would unleash passion on the issues of racism and the treatment of black people and so on. And coming back to this point, this thing you think and clearing up of like the Brother Kadaki asked concerning leadership in like a strike, or let's just protest concerning the important list and biometrics. I feel good to do that. You put it up and share, do that. How important the ship is. Because on this same show, where a lot of people give their proof by stating that not everything that the leader and the leadership got to do that. And that is not so good because the evidence of leadership is showing force and showing edit. For instance, like the bringing down of Nigerian Darren Glass, because of the leadership of the Nigerian landlord and them to bring him down and looking at the strength of this opposition party, South Africa called EFF. So why you're only 30 years old and why there's such a force to break through it, it's because of the shift of Julius Malemo. And the leadership is so important. So I'm asking Dr. Hines to continue to encourage for the RB9 and the leadership of the population, the importance of this so the people because the government is so brutal, they would have need the assurance and the comfort that would have there's our fear that could give us the strength and the power to push ahead with bringing things that is being done in the wrong way by to bring them to the fold and to give it strength, to give us the strength to protest. And so we need the leadership. The leadership is very important at that. Thank you so much.
Thank you much. Thank you very much for that vote of confidence. Thanks very much.
Thank you for that call. Voice notes.
I am wondering if I really see him properly, or if is it that my eyes deceiving me. I hear a Michael Jackson song, I mean seeing nobody looking like Michael Jackson. All I see is a clown that's jumping around. Like I don't know what to say. Yeah, as I said before, the clown. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Hey,
yes. Well, Brother Kadaki said that he was imitating Michael Jackson, and that's what he was doing. Some of us don't have to imitate Michael Jackson. Some of us come from the seed of Michael Jackson. I say no more. I say no more, because we got the movement that God bless us with, that we got rhythm, and we move to our rhythm, and somebody else can't take our rhythm. They can only imitate it, and when you imitate it, after time you become the imitation. I say no more.
They don't even come close.
I got moves and rhythm. Burn with it. Burn with it.
Good morning, good morning, Dr. Hines. Good morning to all the listeners. Dr. Hines, you showed yesterday the program talking about the government refusing to one of the last options dealing with the situation the government situation, and the government is refusing to engage the government in an arbitration, which is mandated in the Constitution. Seeing that this is the case, let's say, for instance, if they continue to refuse to engage the union in some American arbitration, which they say that is mandated, and they control the executive branch of force, they control the legislation branch by 1 or 2% and everything, and by a certain degree they have serious influence over the judicial branch. I think in this case, this is just my thought, that because there's nowhere to go, I think in this case, I think that the military should come into question here. The military should be standing up here. And they understand that the head of the military is to stand with the person who might put that person in place, that person will be liar to death. But the other senior officers in the military, who I think should stand up and first thing they should
They should displace that chief of staff and take over the military and call for a real arbitration to all the stakeholders involved here. The state organization, the cultural organization, the political parties, and all these people, and even invite some overseas observers just to observe. And also they should put into that we should have deal with our election machinery. They have a clean vote list and the biometric and so on because it sits unfair and so on. So I do think that the military should step in line here and do some action. And this is just my view. This is not their view because I'm not saying I don't want people to think that your program that they're calling for military coalition. That's not the case. That's just my view. But I do think because there's nothing else, they have to control the executive branch, the legislative branch, and most of the judicial branch. Therefore, then the government, the military who also swore to defend the Constitution, all of the military people, the ranks of the military, civil ranks of the military should stand up and displace that relieve that military leader of the duty. And they should take over and let this arbitration, let the negotiation begin. That's my sentence. Thank you.
Comment there, Lawrence?
Yes, I think the caller has raised the elephant in the room. That is where Brother Ogunse was going last year, and they shackled him and have him before the court. He was raising the issue. You see, in Latin America and in Africa, the military has developed an autonomy from the political state, meaning the government, the executive branch, and the legislature. And so that is why you've had coups in Latin America and in Africa, because the military evolved in those places as an independent branch of government. Sorry, not branch of government, an independent arm. The branches are the legislatures, the military, and the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. But you have now what you call the arms of the government. Well, the military is an arm. The political government is another arm. Then in some cases you have an economic arm. That's where the state owns things in the economy and so on. In Guyana, we and the English-speaking Caribbean, our military has not developed as an independent arm, an autonomous arm. And so it takes direction from the political state. And so the chances of our military independently acting is quite remote. But if that were to be happen, that is what Ogunse was saying, that if the military took an autonomous position and says, look, the political government is acting against the Constitution and intervenes, as Ogunse put it, the matter will be over in days. And that is why they move on Ogunse like that, because as this call is saying, he's hitting the nail on the head. Part of our disadvantage is that our military is not autonomous and independent. It takes its direction from the political state. And in the case of Guyana, what the PPP has done, it has labored, it has worked very hard. It now has almost total control over the leadership of the military. Now, what has happened in places like Africa and in Latin America is that sometimes, in Suriname that happened, when Balthasar took power in 1980, he was a junior officer. So in some cases, the junior officers have initiated coups when the leadership was compromised. All right. I don't know that our military has that capacity. I don't think our military, the leadership takes its direction from the politicians, the political state, and the junior ranks tend to take directions from the upper ranks. So I don't think we have that kind of situation. I want to say an historical fact, and I'm only saying it because everybody has said it. I heard Mr. Granger said it recently. What a lot of people don't know, I hear they talk about WPA this and WPA that. What we did in the 19th century was to infiltrate the army and almost overthrow the government. Whether today, the major opposition, because back then we had superseded the PPP as the major opposition, and we had infiltrated the army, and I'm saying it now because it's out there. Granger said it and so on and thing, and we had infiltrated the army, and it got to a certain point, it got to a certain point, didn't go past a certain point. Our party doesn't have that capacity. No, we are not the major opposition. And I say no more. I say no more.
Thank you.
But the caller has raised a fundamental point.
Call it right.
Yes, good morning to you, Mr. David. Welcome back. Good morning to you, Mr. Amsterdam, and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. I thank God that I live for air. A black brother joined with me this morning and called for the army to do something. Frascati was calling for the army months and months ago because the army have the right to overthrow the government, arrest them, and put them on the rest and put a person there to carry on the truth of the people until the next election. One brother challenged me. He said, no, Frascati, they can't do that because court-martial. And next brother kind of said, no, Frascati, they don't have the key. I said, make a key, find a key, drop the lock, and deliver black people in Guyana. The army have the power to do that. Yes, the PPP control the army. They allow them to do that. Yes, you're right, Mr. David. I was in Suriname studying, read that overthrow with Boris and his ex-partner friend. But the partner friend died. They said he hung himself. But politics plays out that. Because if you're trying to walk in fire, don't turn back and leave me alone.
Seems we have lost Flash Gordon. Calling your life.
President of Manji Balakajaki, and to your guest, Brother David Hines. I want to give some kudos to Brother Hines on his recent launch of his cricket program. Right? I want to say big time that I never knew David Hines was such an ardent cricket fan. I never know he had so much knowledge in the game of cricket dating back from the 50s and the 60s. And I truly enjoy his presentation of the last weekend, and I hope that he continues because I really and truly enjoy it because that was so lovely. I have known David Hines as a political activist, but I was taken aback to I hear we overpassing now and then. I hear we mention one, two things about cricket, but the way you were diving over the last weekend, I must pay my serious respect to him. I'm a serious cricket man coming from a political background. I have a small contribution to make. I think the political opposition some people are making too much of the PP Congress. Now, the PP of the Congress is their party business. Certain things went on. I think the teacher's state was too distasteful and disrespectful. People can comment on that. But all in all, the art of the Congress, I don't think PP are making too much of their Congress, too much of the serious business to discuss and they diving into the people party business. I don't think the opposition should be so much into the people business when the president dancing and they dance and all. They business. They think we shouldn't dive in so deep everybody know who the political, who the PP is and so forth and so forth. The issue over the keeping of the Congress at the convention center, I think we just do too much of crying and creaking. I think that has been our major problem. There is too much of crying and creaking instead of looking for solution. If I was a PNC or I was in the PNC leadership, I have a Congress coming up. I would have penned a nice three line letter to the people responsible for the Congress and asked to host my Congress at the convention center. They know I would have fight that battle. I would have written to the people in charge of the convention center and seeking permission to hold my Congress coming up at the convention center, and I would have listened to see what the response, and based upon how they would have responded, whether they would, if the response was denial, I would have printed got the letter and did it all over the world. They only had to fight political battles. Now Mr. Figueroa. Now I heard Mr. Jackson made a statement during the last local government election when a few people crowded the floor, and Mr. Jackson made a statement that if people believe that a few people crowded the floor is something they gotta wait and see what happened at the general election coming up. And some people may take it as a joke because when they say that, when they in the no confidence motion, when they talk about it, they have some people in their pocket. People took it as a joke. And lo and behold, according to reports, there are 3 people who was prepared to crowd the floor, but it only stopped at Sharon. There were 2 others suspect. Now people like Figueroa and these people and these shops, they are undermining their part. And I am not going to be surprised as Figueroa and a few others that are going to be crashing the floor. They are self-defeated in this political struggle. They're just like the people in New York with the people fighting against the president visit. And throughout this world, as I said at that time a few moons ago, throughout this world from Mandela to Martin all over, the people who are until to undermine black people is black people. That has been it. The people put it undermine black people. Look at the PP Congress. They elect a leadership. And all this talk about one Guyana and inclusivity and black people come to the party. Black people, look at the leadership of the out of 25 people, 3 black people scraping. And look at 3 black people, 3 fundamental that have been with them all the time. Harvey Mackay, Jennifer Westwood, and somebody else. They only being used as puppet show and put their face on a flyer and present themselves. And they don't realize, people don't realize the word that they've been used and abused in this situation. So that's my contribution. So that time, keep up the good work with the cricket show. And I will surely enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. Let me take a break. We have some bills to pay. We have to let you know what's happening. So let's take a break on that. Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out. Let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North. You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T and W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Ramvelt Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T and W Harris Butcher Shop, for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. Follow the line, please.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, viewers, that there is a delivery service called One Move, that's operating out of Buxton, and it delivers all along the East Coast and even Georgetown. The service is usually available from about 11 in the day, and they go up to 8:30, 10:30 at night. You can call them at 638-9135. 638-9135. That's the East Coast Delivery Service, also known as One and Move. Right? One and Move Delivery Service. The WhatsApp number is 638-9135. Save the number, and you can also contact them and ask them to save your number so that they can share with you, because they share daily menus and so on for businesses that they deliver for. Right? So make full use of One Move services, and ease yourself the stress of having to run up and down the road if you need to get something delivered. Right?
Mama, I dedicate this song to you. Wherever you there, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Show Mama the love and adoration she deserves. Celebrate Mother's Day at Club Twilight with a special brunch for all the wonderful mothers. Enjoy a festive atmosphere, complimentary cocktails, and surprises starting from 11 a.m. Club Twilight, Sideline Buxton North. Call 622-5933 and don't miss the opportunity to show Mama how much you love her. Yeah, so that brunch is on Sunday, Mother's Day. It starts at around 11 o'clock at Club Twilight. So you can come on down to the brunch. The cost is $6,000. It's best if you RSVP so that we know we're catering for you. And then there's also the lunch baskets. You can order lunch baskets at $10,000. And I did say that we will stop taking orders to the lunch basket today, right? Because remember, we have to make the preparations. And so we need to have those numbers in as early as possible as to, who wants what, so that we can, you can't add rice to the pot at the middle of the cooking. So you can't wait until Mother's Day morning to order lunch for your mom. You can perhaps come to the brunch, but if you're looking for lunch baskets, you need to place those orders now. Carter, thank you for holding your life.
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Hines, and good morning, Mr.
Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is now 7 hours 32 on the 9th day of May in the year 2024. Welcome to the program. How are you? How have you been? How was your yesterday? How are you faring today? How did you pass last night? You had a sleepless night or you had a restful night? Were you able to live with your conscience yesterday and last night? And are you awake this morning, awake to all the misbehavior of people around you? And have you rededicated yourselves to the struggle? Those are some of the things I wish you have done, and I encourage you to do. You see, a lot of people tell themselves struggle is a one-day thing. Struggle is not a one-day thing.
Good morning to all Guyanese and everyone.
If you are really serious about wanting change,
The Guyanese diaspora, Dr.
you have to understand that it doesn't come overnight. It is something that you have to dedicate your energies to. Is it the national anthem or the pledge that says, I dedicate my energies? You have to dedicate your energies. God, you have to dedicate your energies. Somebody said to me, when they realized I had a program on the 5th and the 6th and the 1st, the holidays so far in this month, they say, you don't take a break. Every day holiday or no holiday, you're there. That is how you have to be. You got to be right in their face all the time. Up close and personal. because that is when they recognize that you're serious about what you're doing. It can be according to that might have been Shaggy, a one-day Christian. It don't work so. You got to put in the energy. You got to put in the work. You have to be consistent, because consistency is what brings you results. Even those of us who want to stay lean, we know that there's no point of going to the gym and being inconsistent, because you're going to only be paying gym fees. Right? You have to be consistent with what you do. And so I'm encouraging you to be consistent. This morning, I want to encourage every teacher, every parent, every child to be consistent. Be consistent. You got a consistent government, I can tell you that. And if your government, who quote unquote is your opponent in these instances, is consistent, then you too have to be consistent, or you will lose. You will lose. Every parent must be consistent. Teachers, be consistent. You were able to get the victories you got from the last strike action because teachers consistently came out and they went to the protest line. Teachers consistently stayed away from school as part of protest action. The government consistently refused to honor the rights of teachers to collective bargaining. They consistently refused to honor the fact that the multi-year agreement and negotiations for wages and salaries increase and conditions of work improvement and so on are due since 2019. They consistently take that position. They will only negotiate from 2024. They consistently disrespect teachers. All during the previous strike, they call them thieves. They call them misfits. They call them ingrates. And then at the Congress, a few mornings ago, they continued to disrespect them by mocking them on stage. Right? They mocked them on stage. So it's like they don't matter. And if the government could continue and be consistent in their disregard for the rights of teachers, then teachers have to be consistent in taking industrial actions to have their rights respected. Today, teachers are back on the strike line. A lot of people in the past had a lot of negative things to say with teachers going on the strike line. I hope those persons have seen the behavior of government, even after the courts have ruled in favor of the teachers and upheld their right to be on the strike line, upheld their right for collective bargaining. I hope those naysayers have seen the consistent misbehavior of the government despite those rulings. And so, if they're conscionable, one would expect them to add their voices to the teachers and those who are supporting the teachers' industrial action as of today. So we'll be watching and we'll be waiting. And we'll be taking notes to see who are the naysayers and who are the ones who are standing on the side of the teachers for the just cause. Parents, when teachers have to be on strike, it is your children who suffer. It is your children's future that will be impacted. And when your children's future is impacted, so too is your future. I shared a video yesterday with someone. I'm trying to remember who I shared it with. Oh, I think I know who I shared it with. And so I will take the opportunity to share it with you also. Let me hope I find it. As an educator, I usually argue that What we do as educators will determine the quality of future, the quality of life we get to live in our communities. And by extension, if teachers are not allowed to do what teachers are prepared to do in terms of educating our children, because government is misbehaving, government is mistreating them, then that will determine, again, the quality of life that we as a country, we as communities will enjoy or not enjoy. This is a brief video, but an instructive video. And so I want you to listen to it. I might play it 2 times at least, so you can get to hear it.
Your project. That is if they do well. Otherwise, it's a lifelong project.
Yeah.
So, we must understand it's not about the volume of time that you spend. If you spend too much time, they'll get sick of you. It is the way you relate to them. Being that is if they do well. Otherwise, it's a lifelong project.
Yeah.
So, we must understand it's not about the volume of time that you spend. If you spend too much time, they'll get sick of you. It is the way you relate to them. Being, I'm a mother, when you say this and you want to raise your child, you can raise only cattle. A human being cannot be raised. If you raise a human being, he will be just like a cattle, he or she will be just like a flock. You should not raise, you must cultivate and watch what is going to blossom. But raising means you already fixed what they should become.
Yeah.
Don't ever fix that, this is a crime against humanity. Once you have a child, it's a 20-year project. That is if they do well. Otherwise, it's a lifelong project.
Yeah.
So, we must understand it's not about the volume of time that you spend. If you spend too much time, they'll get sick of you. It is the way you relate to them. Being, I'm a mother, when you say this and you want to raise your child, you can raise only cattle. A human being cannot be raised. If you raise a human being, he will be just like a cattle, he or she will be just like a flock. You should not raise, you must cultivate and watch what is going to blossom. But raising means you already fixed what they should become.
Yeah.
Don't ever fix that, this is a crime against humanity. Once you have a child, it's a 20-year project. That is if they do well. Otherwise, it's a lifelong project.
Yeah.
If you have a child, it's a 20-year project, if they do well. Otherwise, it's a lifelong project. If you continue to allow this government to behave the way they behave, and teachers have to consistently and constantly strike for the government to honor their demands for livable wages and just conditions of work, your children will become your lifelong projects. We have already had a generation, of children left behind because of prayers, no child left behind policy. We have a lot of young adults out there who are functionally illiterate simply because of that no child left behind policy. So without strike action, the education sector was failing and continues to fail because of poor government policies. And now we add strike action to that. What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? The onus for ending the strike is not on the teachers. The onus for ending the strike is smack dab in the lap of the government. They have the resources. They are the employers. The courts have instructed basically that they should honor not only the right to strike, but collective bargaining. But so far, we have seen a display of crassness unmatched, I dare say. The refusal to honor those commitments, the refusal to respect the ruling of the court. As a matter of fact, instead of respecting the ruling of the court, the PPP, their leaders, decided that the best thing to do is to attack the justice who ruled against them, Justice Sandel Kiso. Our institutions will continue to fail unless our citizens stand as the vanguard, stand as the defenders of those institutions, especially when they're constitutional. And so the government is refusing to respect the rulings of the court. The citizens must force the government to respect the rulings of the court. The government is refusing to negotiate with teachers, and that has a long, short, and medium-term impact on the education of our children and our children's future. The citizens must make the government negotiate. And so it's imperative on every parent, every auntie, every cousin, every brother, every sister, every relative, every family member to support the teachers' cause. Join the teachers. Some of us can't join them physically, but we can join them in the call for collective bargaining. We can join them in pressuring the government to return to the table. And that's what I'm encouraging this morning. I stand with you, teachers. CAMS TV stands with you, teachers. I'm sure the majority of viewers and participants in the morning's program stand with you. Let's do this. It is also imperative that the rest of the public service, nurses, well, they argue that policemen and women and defense force members cannot strike. But I heard Paul Slow use a term, I think just yesterday, they can jam. There are different forms of industrial action. They can go slow. They can report ill. And so every public servant, every worker for the government must find a way to say to the government, we stand with the teachers. I don't believe that soldiers and police cannot strike. And nurses cannot strike. Yes, they're considered part of the essential services. They are considered part of the essential services, but they can take actions to signal that they stand with teachers. For example, they don't have to be out there intimidating teachers. Police don't have to go to schools to take record of who is absent and who is present. The soldiers have no business on the street to deal with strike actions. That is the civil authorities' responsibility, the police. And so policemen and women can, by their very actions, show that they are in support of the strike. Nurses definitely can show that they are in support of the strike by taking action. I wish Patrick Yard and the rest who are over at the Ministry of Public, not Ministry, the Public Service Union, will at least take this opportunity to add their voices. They missed the train the last time. They missed the train the last time. But I'm hopeful that they will take this opportunity to join the teachers and say, well, here, we are standing with the teachers, and we too are standing on the industrial action line for better treatment of our members. But like I said, the length of time it takes to bring the government to the table is dependent on consistency and all of us joining the struggle with the teachers. Let's get the show on the road. Big up yourself, Coretta McDonald, Mark Light, and the rest of the executive of the Teachers Union. Y'all got work to do, do it. Big up all the teachers. Go there and do what you got to do. If parents need another reason for joining the teachers, to show dissatisfaction with government's behavior, it is the recent announcement or publication of an advertisement inviting students to partake in an essay writing competition. Right? I don't know how many of you have heard or how many of you have seen that advertisement. But as I take it upon myself as a responsibility, I will show it to you. I cannot afford not to show it to you. Imagine your neighbor recognizing that things are hard with you and deciding to lend you a helping hand. And then the next day, they tell you to write an essay and tell the world how things are bad with you and they are to help you and how their help contributed to your survival or your success. That is what the Ministry of Education is doing. Look at it. I'll take good time and read it. Ministry of Education, uplifting commas, a daily breakfast helped me in school. Quotation, write an essay between 150 to 200 words on the above, telling us how the breakfast program positively impacted you as a grade 6 student. Prizes: first prize, a laptop. Second prize, a bicycle. Third prize, a backpack of school items. Submission: all submission must include your name, school's name, and the contact number. Your essay can be submitted via email to mahendra.pagwa@ministryofelucation.gov.gy, or scan or take a picture of your essay and send it to our WhatsApp help desk at 707-1199. Competition runs from May 8th to June 7th. Help desk 707-1199. I am encouraging you parents, send WhatsApp to 707-1199. 707-1199. What do I want you to send? What do I want you to send to that WhatsApp? Your dissatisfaction with such practice of the PPP. Right? WhatsApp. I'm putting the number up for you. 707-1199. Tell Priya what a low life she is. The number is there. 707-1199. Tell Priya how you feel about her essay. Start sending those WhatsApp. And I'm very serious. Send those WhatsApp. Express yourselves on this matter. What level of indecency is it? Let me analyze quickly for you a number of things on this flyer. Laptop. The coalition government was giving laptop. Giving. You didn't have to write any essay to get it. Bicycle. The Granger 5B's program was giving bicycles to students. They didn't have to write any essay to get it. Backpack of school items. Again, the Granger government was giving that to students. They didn't have to write an essay to get it. Because the 5B's program, as I like to say, the North B's program, because it was more than 5, recognized that by providing certain support for students, especially in depressed areas, they were empowering them, they were improving their chances of success, not only at the grade 6 level, but at every level of their quest for education. But the PPP came to office and they criticized it and they shut it down and they left the buses to rot by the roadside and they closed down the soup kitchens, the hot meal kitchens. And they fired the nutritionists and they came up with their own version of the breakfast program. And they gave the children imbalanced meals. Imagine early in the morning, you're giving a child pulori for breakfast. Pulori for breakfast. You ask many of the and they will tell you those children were being served pulori for breakfast. They're being served the little channel, which is better than pulori. They were being served sandwiches with half-side buttered and stuff like that. Poorly conceptualized meals they were being served. And still, I would argue, still are being served under this breakfast program that Priya wants to blow or horn about, and inviting children to write and say how it helped them positively.
Many of the schools will tell you that many of the children refused the breakfast that was on offer. Because, like I said, it was poorly put together. Presentation and everything was poor. But here is this woman who has been mismanaging the nation's monies through the Ministry of Education, saying to these children, we feed y'all. You feed y'all. Y'all show some gratitude. Right, and tell the world, oh, y'all used to hungry. And our breakfast help you all to succeed. It impacted you positively as a grade 6 student. How much lower can prayer go? And don't tell me it is some education officer's idea. Prayer is a political head of the ministry, and nothing will get done in the ministry unless prayer gives it a blessing. This essay, like many of the things they do, is a trip to gather information for the campaign trail. Imagine your child writing an essay to see how the breakfast program positively impacted them. And on the campaign trail, prayer is reading that essay. Anil perhaps is reading that essay. The artistic president is reading that essay. Mr. Power Hungry is reading that essay. Imagine them taking your essays or the points made in those essays, assuming people would have written, to masquerade around the country to say, oh, we have done such a good job for the grade 6 students. Oh, we have done such a good job in the education ministry. Look, the children are singing our praises. Without even understanding that you're asking our children to be poster boys and girls for poverty. Poster boys and girls for poverty. Because you must be impoverished. You must be impoverished. The country must be impoverished. The citizens must be impoverished. For government to find it necessary to have a school's breakfast program, number one. And number two, for wanting people to write to say how that has impacted their lives. That is what we have as a government. That is what we have as an education minister. A mother, by the way. She got children or child. How would it sit with prayer for the grandparents of our children to say, you're writing an essay, to say how coming over at my house on for Sunday breakfast or dinner has positively impacted you? Parents, like I said last week on another program, I was always told, you don't have to be poor in public. You don't have to be poor in public. Even if you're poor, even if your children have benefited from that daily breakfast program, as they call it, do not encourage your children to write those essays. Do not encourage your children to be poster boys and girls for the inept Minister of Education and this crass government. Instead of sending essays to 7071199, please send your disapproval to 7071199. flood that number. Flood it. Flood it with messages of disapproval. It's another form of protest. And those of you who can go on the protest line with the teachers, go with messages of disapproval for that essay. Because the damn is past, people. It's like pass. And unless you put a stop to it, it will continue. I know there are many of you who believe that my children are brilliant. My child is brilliant. My child will make a mess of that essay. They're going to win. They could get a laptop, they could get a bicycle, they could get backpack of supplies. Don't enable disrespect just in the name of winning a prize. Because here, like social media, when you put something out there, it stays out there. You're a child. As I say, puppy the stun dog will become an adult. And somebody might have reason to want to revisit that essay. And as we say, throw it in the face of your child. You can't tell me nothing. Create the bad breakfast at to rescue you many mornings at school. So what make you think you could talk to me now? That's just me being extreme. But you put it out there, it will be out there. And it will not be out there for the right reasons. It will be out there because Priya and the rest of the crass people in the PPP are looking for campaign material. Don't give it to them. Please, don't give it to them. Join the teachers on the strike line. Okay? Please do. It's 6 minutes past 8 o'clock hour. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. And sometimes you can't be all straight-faced. And as they say, up in your feelings. Sometimes you have to seriously, I feel cheated.
A very blessed good morning to you, Mr. Gadaki, and a blessed good morning to the rest of the people.
Yes, I feel cheated. Let's tell you something. Pastor, I want to ban you from this program. Yeah? Pastor, you could do me such a thing, man. Yeah? As if you was call you pastor, how you going to do me such a thing? But it's out there already. Right? It is out there already. I don't know. Y'all spare me a few minutes. Let express my feelings here. Did Pastor allow somebody to influence him to remove his text message, his voice note from Cam's TV? Huh? I can't believe it. I am going to look for yesterday's voice notes. And I can't find, that nice juicy voice note that we got from Pastor yesterday. Yeah, I could believe it. That is not fair to us here at camps.
Because their leaders are patriotic.
That can't be fair.
Doctor of the Black Book.
What you gonna do though? I'm lodging a complaint. According to my friend, I'm lodging a complaint to the 592. Pastor Ramos. Right? And so I would expect an apology from you, sir. Write an essay apologizing. trying to figure it out. Time is of the essence.
There. And I prepare to go. You have to know.
God bless us. Mr. Ainge, you're totally correct. Mr. Kadaki, y'all only got air for grow up on or where at. Y'all got wisdom and y'all brains. Y'all are very intelligent. What Mr. Ainge said about the army is totally truth. It's totally in order. And for example, when you're in the military, this is how they teach us and this is how they had brought us up. Smite the shepherd and the flock go astray. You always got to answer to your superior. And if you got a question, you ask question after and these kind of things, but obedient first. And they will, but what Flash saying is so true that what Mr. is saying. The army has enough power to get any government out of position if they get unity in the army. If some of the leaders, some of the air in the army stand up and unite, and that's always happened. But what the PP government do, they hijack all the air of the militaries them. If you can see the police and as well as the soldiers, and they kidnap them, and now with their exact mobile money, they can bribing them off their position. Even when the man on the seat, who we call the commissioner, even when he retire come off, they're going to use the undercover land the PP in government. They're going to use it in different ways, secret squad and this thing. That was normally go on. So, and as informer and all this kind of thing, you got to be very careful because sometimes you might be speaking to the enemy in your group. And that's where you got to be careful. The next thing, they're pulling upon you and they put you before the code and all this thing. So it's a very, very peculiar thing. But indeed, what Flash saying, the army has that power and they could do that. But they don't have the unity because the invasion of the PPP government. However, I want to ask Mr. Anand a question. So how you feel? I address your sorrow because you always teaching, you say it's chachi, yes, this. How you feel what your own party have done to you? How you feel? Everything you went to CCJ, against the teachers them, against the Exile Mobile deal, against this nation. Now your own party embarrass you and disgrace you. You've been disgraced while the more disgrace stamp in your face from your own party. Can you just imagine the speech again? 9. Can you imagine? It's amazing Dharam Lal beat you, but do all this nastiness and not even resign and come back and stand there and beat you out. Can you imagine what I'm saying? Even Mr. Mackay, well, Julian is beat you out. All of them will run for this backdoor kicking and all of them man and run for leg girl and do all this nasty thing. It goes to show what kind of party you're in and you're a member of. I'm going to advise you, if you want a position, join the LGBT, get a tea back and go and protest. Go to the CCJ with a tea back and let us see how you've been treated. And you can get a position, they can take him back. Because that's what this government is, a wicked, evil, vindictive government. And they're glad you realize and I hope you come to your sense. Anyhow, you get what you deserve. And many more of them, and they're going to get it. Can you imagine Darnlal beat you up? Kwame beat you up? What a shame and disgrace, Mr. Anandalal. Or you still want to say it's constitution? You want to work on the constitution for the LGBTQ? Go and work on it. Go now. Put on your tea back and go have a blessed day, man. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day, guys. Mr. Kadaki, God bless you. Mr. Ayn, God bless you. Let me so you can take them now. In your face.
In your face. Pastor, don't think you can rob me of anything I want. You know, I just get what I want. What I do? In your face. In your face. We have to stay in their face on these issues. Don't get them a free pass. The government is displaying a level of crassness a lot of people have not seen in their lifetime. I see an idiot named Shivnath as usual saying, PNC been in power for 28 years. They never give breakfast. The best meals children have gotten under any government in this country were delivered in times of PNC government. I say I'm a 70s child. And I remember growing up through the 70s and 80s, going to school. And there was a school feeding program. They used to give school biscuit, as we say. In fact, not even school biscuit. Let me go back. They used to give you Obzi Bobzi. How many of you remember Obzi Bobzi? They used to give you Obzi Bobzi and pasteurized milk. Y'all like take me back in time to remind y'all that y'all ain't got no policy for this country. Children used to be given in public schools in this country cereals and milk. Among other things, I can distinctly remember cereals and milk. They were hot meals. Cereals is a miracle they use after a cold. You used to get cereals and milk. This is in the PNC early days, Fab's Bonham days and so on. The milk used to come from Litco, Livestock Industry Development Company. The Litco plant was in Kingston, pasteurization plant. You know what has become of that plant? It ain't in the hands of one of the friends of the PPP. It's now a major water processing plant. Y'all go and check it for yourself. Right? You know the importance of that plant? It used to ensure that livestock farmers, especially those in dairy, had an outlet for the produce. They used to send their milk to Litco for processing. Litco in turn used to package that milk. I remember even if you at school, you used to get the milk and cereals and so on. But even outside of school days or any time of the day, you felt like you wanted a snack, you could have gone to the corner shop and bought a packet of Litco milk. They used to packet them in the clear plastic bags. I'm sure there are older folks than I am on this program. And there are also younger folks. And y'all could challenge me on it. I remember going to 110 Corner because I went to St. George's Primary. 110 Corner is just opposite, I think, where Freedom House there. On the other side, where Sharma Building is, I think 110 Corner used to be. You go there and you buy puri from them boys on the cart because you had Metropole Cinema right opposite Freedom House. And you used to get the puri and egg ball and puri and fried shark and so on there. And you buy your puri and fried shark for done, and you go up on the other side. And you buy a packet of Litco milk and you're in heaven. Balanced break, balanced lunch, balanced meal. So, Chef Nat, I don't know what you think you're talking about. And coming out of that period, you had the PPP in government for 23 plus years. I can't remember that they had a hot meal program. And then the coalition came to government. And they started the hot meal program for students, along with the Many Bees program. And I can tell you that the meals that were being prepared then was nutritious, and they were prepared under safe conditions. Every preparation center had a nutritionist attached to them. Children were eating balanced meals, and in many instances didn't even realize they were eating balanced meals because what? Children generally don't like vegetables in their foods. But methods were used to ensure that the vegetables were ground and incorporated in whatever was being prepared. Even a sandwich, even the quote-unquote cheese spread in a sandwich had vegetables. But these nincompoops in government, they found out, come every time now I take contract, And you take contract for provide breakfast to them picnic. Pull over in the morning. Some sandwich that you barely take the dog the knife in the nut butter or whatever and dab it so. And you're talking crap. We are not going to get better in this country for as long as people like Shiv Nath and the rest of the PPP exist. When you could be wicked to the children of a nation, you know you're wicked. You can't get any wickeder. When you can't see how your policies are harming the development of children, you can't get any blinder. But these folks are blinded by racism. They're blinded by the caste and class system. Keep them in poverty. Don't pay their parents adequately. Take the responsibility for giving them breakfast as a state. And then ask them to tell the world how poor and oppressed and downtrodden they were, and our breakfast program saved them from destitution. That's what we're dealing with. There's a video that's making the rounds with Egil in, is that Echoes area? Peters Hall. I think that's the correct place. And that elderly woman that he's telling that government has compulsorily acquired her property for the construction of the new Demerara Harbor Bridge. And the time has come for them to move. And in short, failure to move will result in the government moving in, like they did in Mocha, and demolishing their properties. Right? According to him, the decision has already been made. The only thing left to be settled with the homeowners is how much government will pay them. Let me give you some background to that situation there. Let me start by telling you that where the new Demerara Harbor Bridge is going to land now is not the original area selected. Right? The new Demerara Harbor Bridge was to be landed away from that area. As a matter of fact, my understanding is that it was supposed to land closer to DDL. DDL has a facility. Right? DDL had a facility, or has, as a matter of fact. DDL has a facility further up the bank. And my understanding is the Harbor Bridge was supposed to be landed somewhere in close proximity to that and was going to cost DDL a piece of land. Good? Piece of land. As a result of the fact that it was going to cost DDL, I dare argue a favorite of the PPP, a piece of land. The PPP came to office and decided they ain't putting nothing there. They are not going to put the bridge where it will affect DDL. Instead, they're going to come closer down the road and they're going to put it in that area there where it will affect more residents than one business. Understand that? I think the decision to put the bridge where it is currently aimed is going to affect 22 proprietors. Not necessarily 22 homes or households, but 22 proprietors. You know, there are multiple households that can be housed in 22 properties. Good? And so there are many households that are going to be affected by that move. Versus the one business that was going to be affected when the coalition had their plans, if I remember it clearly. Good? So they chose to, instead of quote unquote inconveniencing business, they chose to displace residents. And so they started to bully. That's what the word is, to bully, to intimidate the residents in that area. My understanding is that they approached the residents on the opposite side. That community is predominantly Indo-Guyanese. That community is predominantly Indo-Guyanese. And they were adamant that they're not going to move. They will not move. They don't care about compensation. They have been there since Noah was a boy. And as a matter of fact, I understand some people said to them, Bornham, give me this land, and we're moving for me. This is a predominantly Indo-Guyanese community telling them that we're moving. They didn't insist that they move, but rather, what they did is that they went on the opposite side, predominantly Afro-Guyanese. Predominantly Afro-Guyanese. And what were they told? In the first instance, I understand they told them, you have 3 months to move. 3 months to move. Government will value your property. And if you have no place to move to, maybe based because of the shortness of time, we are going to put you up in rented homes until you can start out your business to relocate. Those were promises, those were tactics used to get those people to vacate that area. Of course, many of them stood their ground and they said, we have no interest in moving. We have been here, some of us, since we were children. We have inherited these properties, etc. And we have no interest in moving. But unlike what they did on the other side, they respected the people's position. They insisted in this instance, Jagan move. Jagan move by the hook or the crook. And so you're hearing yesterday, according to Jagan, that their properties were compulsorily acquired And so the only thing left for government to do is to determine the value of those properties. Well, a lot of those persons have received valuations for those properties, except again, in its usual discriminatory way, the government used two standards. Two standards they used for valuation of those properties. One, the predominantly Afro-Guyanese community, they use the government valuation department. They use the government valuation department to value those properties. In the other instance, they use private valuation. And so if you listen to that video keenly, you will hear that Granny was saying, y'all see the old house over there? But she didn't describe it as old. Y'all see the one over there? It's 57 million they give them. 57 million they give them. But our properties are valued way below that. Why? Because we got a government that is discriminatory, a government that is wicked. Well, I really and truly want to call them government, a group of people that is wicked and discriminatory. And in everything they do, they see race, they see racism, they see class, they see caste. One set of people deserve more than another. One set of people deserve to get a better value for their properties than another. And that is what that issue, quite frankly, has come down to. I am not going to take it any further. It has come down to the desire to oppress Black people. It has come down to the desire to rob Black people of their birthright. It has come down to the desire to take away what Black people got, as we're seeing across this country, disinherit them. That is what it has come down to. And so while I know, or I expect, that government is going to have its way through this eminent domain law and so on and so forth, it is my firm belief that, again, the citizenry of this country ought to come out and register their disagreement with the attitude of government on this particular issue, the way they're treating people on this particular issue. Those lands in particular are titled lands. They're squat lands. Yes, I understand that in many instances, for development to take place, some people have to be inconvenienced. I know government uses eminent domain ever so often to facilitate development, but I also know that caring governments take every step to ensure that people are fairly and adequately compensated for their properties, even at current market values. But in this instance, the PPP is using two yardsticks to determine that value. One for Black people property and the other for Indo-Guyanese property. As a matter of fact, there's a third factor there because I know it happened. One for supporters property and one for properties of people they do not consider PPP supporters. All of that is in the melee. All of that is in the mix in that issue there. I can tell you it as I know it because I've been one of the first persons to go up there and talk with the residents on that matter. My car is at the mechanic. Well, let me not say this. Somebody might want to find out what is in that car, right? That matter is a clear case of PPP, the nastiness, and the desire to ensure Indian domination in this country. I know the likes of Shiv Nath and them going to come and say everything is stuck in racist terms. But this, again, like the Bobby's Bridge, is another issue of the PPP looking at national development through racist lens. It won't change, and Guyanese raise our voices against it and be consistent in raising our voices against it. If government is misbehaving, we have a right to say government is misbehaving, regardless of what government looks like. The lines are opened. 622-5933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. Remember, One Move Services is a delivery service located in the Buxton Friendship area, and they do deliveries from Georgetown all the way up the East Coast. You can get them on 638-9135. If it's KFC, if it's Pizza Hut, if it's Lou's Kitchen, if it's wherever you want your orders from, they can take care of that for you. Save the number 638-9135. Call One Move Services. And you can also give them your number so that they can share menus and share services with you, because they also advertise the menu and the services of other businesses on a daily basis, right? So be in the loop. Call One Move Services. Call your life.
Yes, good morning to you and to all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. I live to see my grandmother teaching as a young man. She said, these are the things, my grandson, you must look out for and grow up. She said, Kuli people love these things, land, power, money, and they love to kill black people. And Flash Garden just put in the next piece, and they love to put black against black, black to kill black. What they are doing, they are representing these words. Every cow does cry for them calf. Black people ain't get nobody crying for them yet. I see that. It's only one man step forward and said, hey, I will take black people out of poverty. And he getting fight down to complete that. Those words. Yes, I stand with the teachers them. Why? Because God is with them now, because they do the right thing. They represent the word strike. That is the right way to strike. Strike for package, and you will get victory for that package. What about Mr. Lincoln Lewis and all these guys? In a time of my ex-president from Boredom, they got so many strength and energy for strike and go out and do this and do that. As a young man listening to the news, all of them supposed to be outside here. The war supposed to shut down today. Where all them nurses, all them unions come together as one. We always talking every day, oh, one people, one nation, one destiny. But they are not demonstrating. But I'm leaving a foundation with you guys. You guys not representing but that foundation. I only destroying it. I heard about talk yesterday, but calling the man with 19 charge clown. The clown, hey, it's black people end up being clowned because the man dance and enjoy the eye money. When one black brother tell David Green, just say, hey, can't do mathematics. Each household entitled must get $5,000. The black man tell the next black man, no, black man go drink out their money. Look what the Koli man do with their money. We gotta stop. Look at what them Koli do and stop them from continue doing it. The word is it. Stop them Koli from destroying our grandparents' house and land. Stop them. What happened to all them ex-soldiers? Them ex-police can't come together and face the man with 19 charge. We only base it, oh, they should take a place from Kisun. Come on, please. Take a page from that young African guy from Nigeria who said today, got to see the president. And he put himself in, excuse me, he said dead or alive. What do people doing in Guyana? What happened to the soldiers them? What more are you waiting for drink Kool-Aid? Y'all waiting for Jagan Kool-Aid? Is that what y'all telling France Garden? All them men in Guyana, are you waiting? Or y'all just love Mr. Amsterdam program for come say Mr. Amsterdam, me get slapped by PPP. Slap them back. Don't come and tell Mr. Amsterdam. Slap them back. There's a man. Face them. Where is this guy to before me go? Where is this guy from Mackenzie? London. You go up on all them programs. You can stop that nonsense for the PPP. You want to believe? You got to put something on your resume to become leader, my friend. You're supposed to be outside that. No, all busload from Mackenzie to strike with them teachers, shut down with retreat. But all y'all only focus on program. Are you only talking, repeating every day what they call him to the black man? But y'all not come up with no plans. None of y'all can pick up a group and say, okay, today we're going to strike for a whole week. Come on, guys. Come on, young black men in Guyana. Come on, young MP in Guyana. Are you 10 around the country, around the world? Guyanese black men look thin and shameful. That man from St. Vincent get a boss head. And he did not, I sure he did not do inch of what them wicked Cody government do to black man. And he get boss head. And them Buxtonian surprised me today. From a little boy growing up boxing, Ari stand up strong and powerful before Bonham. Where are them never stand up strong and powerful before them wicked government? And them allow him to go in them village and sit down and talk crap. And Jagan telling people them, when a black man come in the village, I run them out, chase them out. And they do the exactly because before me go one more thing. When Mr. Amsterdam left and go to an Indian village, a Cody village with some problem, all of them run inside and let Mr. Amsterdam. It's one Cody man for the man to tell Mr. Amsterdam the problem. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your call. I see the goals are being shifted again by Shivnal. He is betting that only nursery schools were given those meals I'm talking about. I want to tell you something else. I can't remember the levels, but I'm sure I got it in primary school. But I want to say to you that even if only nursery schools were being given those levels, those meals, the cost of living in this country at that time was so low that your parents, even though their wages and salaries might have been low, could have afforded to feed you. There was also a feed, clothes, and housing program. Right? My battery save is on. I wonder why. Let me check my connections. Right? There was also the feed, clothes, and housing program. And so a lot of farming was taking place. People were producing what they eat. And so people weren't starving. Let me just put it down to that. God bear with me. I need to sort out some electricity problem in there. I don't know what's going on. Good? Come by. We got now with you. Don't get stupid this morning. Good. Yes. I remember with 2 cents. Because we had cent in those days. With 2 cents, 5 cents, you could have gone to the barber shop in the village. You could have gone to the barber shop in the village. And you used to get a jug of marby and a whole set of biscuit. At that time, the biscuit, the name of, is a biscuit used to come in a can. It used to be manufactured right here as far as I know. What a biscuit the name? Huh? What you say, Carla? Call it here? So we used to get fed. We were fed. But in this day and age, we were accustomed to getting jams and jellies and all kind of locally produced food and so on. So we weren't starving. But there was still that program in schools to feed children. Nowadays, the cost of living so darn high. Like the woman said, it's better for buy food on the road than to cook up at home because the money can't make it. Call your life.
Hi, good morning, Pilaki. Good morning, listening public. I want to say, okay, before the biscuit was like, and I think one name Convisco or something like that, right? However, I want to say that this constitution reform that this government wants to go ahead with, right? I think mostly what they want is that deal to have a third term, or more than third term, or president for life or something like that. They probably want to change this thing that one guy could be there for life. You know what I mean? So we need to watch out for those things. You need to watch out for those things. And I don't know if Mark aware of this, but the Hicks and Jams people, they have some big people party going up to New York and thing, right? And I'm calling on Mark and his supporters up there to boycott these people because they are some of the hallmarks of this big government. You need to boycott them, right? Don't ever support the party, right? So, what I'm saying is that if we could boycott like Pam and Steve and what the other one name, we need the Hills, we need to boycott these people. Nothing that they keep up there shouldn't have no impact on the people, right? We need to boycott them. So you could probably get on to Mark if you don't know that, and let them know. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
Thank you for your call. I see Joe Young is asking the question about the Mohammeds and land. Right there in close proximity to where they're trying to move those people, the Mohammeds got a wharf, if I remember clearly. Right there. But this government is a government for businesses and big money people. So they will do nothing to impact them. Only a small man must suffer. Call their life.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki and everybody. Now with the same lady, she used to be by GCOM protesting. Remember the first thing what they did? They destroyed the cocoa and they flooded out those people.
Facts.
And the people,
I said facts.
They flood them out. The lady went to thing. Now when the lady was talking in the clip to he shouldn't call himself a bishop. And there is where, according to Dr. Hines, slave catchers. They said that is the purpose of the black people in the PPP party. They are the ones who comes out to the Africans in the country to rain down the things of what the PPP wouldn't come. So you wouldn't have a face that is a Kudi PPP minister come in a black people area to rain down any form of rap. And you should see that he's being used continuously, all of them, by the PPP install regime. Now you think it is fun at the age of that woman to build a house? You got the cost of everything. And that money, what they're trying to give them, the woman is right to refuse it. Because if you take $10 million, you wouldn't get a proper land. Then when you got to run it, and then eventually, once these people get this money, you bet your bottom dollar that the name gone to the various places where they got to buy material. So instead of selling them a sack of cement for $2,000, they might got pay one sack of cement for $2,200. And the list goes on of the inflative rates that will be added on to all the building material. Then to get builders and so is a whole set of stress for those people in those ages. Because I could tell you, I am going through the stress to get builders to do my work. Now you mentioned about Litco. Litco milk was organized. It was made here. That was one of Barnum children. It was made here. They used to even box Litco milk and sell it in the plain milk and in the chocolate milk. That different thing, chocolate and the white milk. The same milk used to come to your home to use to buy bottled milk. Anyway, all of that was being destroyed. And when it comes to meals, they used to be given from prep A in the primary school up to standard 4 or primary 4. You used to get this milk feeding program with your biscuit and your milk. And that went on. Now coming to today, when you could afford in a Kolibai get up and made a TikTok video that circulated all over social media, cook food and poison them black man. I don't know how parents can sit down after making a child 9 months and get them to meet to the point to go to school. After hearing somebody say poison black people, why must I, a parent, allow this government with elements like this by to cook and present food to my children? It will not, I wouldn't allow that. You know, when you look at the world today, lots of people, you look at them, they don't have time to cook. I know idols cook because idols hardly eat about. I would eat, yes, but like eat with a long teeth. And then you could hear people say what this boy say, and then you will sit down and relax to send your children to school, for school to feed them. With this installed regime, you really don't love your children, you really don't love yourself, and you really don't love God. Because children are a creation from God, a gift from God. And if you love God, you're going to got love for your children. And you wouldn't like, look at God, these things like these detective stories, what has come over. And they would show you where some people, they poison people through food. Little by little by little by little, they poisoning them. And so that's why I think this thing, antifreeze, it was a colorless thing. And I think they start making it now with colors that if you put it in the pot and so, I think it shows a color so that people gonna know what's going on. That's what thing. And if you put in, if you want to destroy, you put a 1%. Next thing you know, the spin-off of bad things in your children's life. damage the education, damage the entire system. It might even go down into the reproductive area, rendering them sterile from an early age because of the food that you sit down. Being a parent, you say, oh, school gonna feed them. People, watch out what you are doing with God's creation. Make up your mind, go take a little time. Me grew up between me father, painter, working for $4 a week. And every week, my father used to tumble 20 and 25 pounds of flour so that we as children, 7 of us, could have had homemade bread. And everybody knows me. Me biggest problems of rather come to something Saturday night. Tell them when I don't bake my bread first, whatever time it done bake, I gonna roll. And if it done late, I can't roll. And everybody know me that I got one signature to me, 2 cousins, these programs, and the first one in front, 2 front, going to church whenever I could go and dice every week, and eating my bread all over. You would see me with my bread, and eating walking along the road. That is me, because I grew up with it. I'm 63. And I want people to take a step back and to study what they are doing. And I pray that those people at the place there, they are being given the full cost for the property. $10 million and $11 million is joke to do a property. I could take I'm in building. So it's joke. Land going for 50 and 15 million and 20 million. And you giving me 10 million to acquire a land and build a house? No. That is wrong bank. You gotta get the money. You got to get the money. And this installed regime should look to put things in places where the cost is less to pay. Barnum did roads, and Barnum had to move people, pay them, but he put them and he made certain that when his engineers in those days plan things, he used to look at the feasibility and he looked at everything that it did not endanger much of the citizens of the country. And they always just talk about Barnum being a dictator and all kind of thing. But Barnum never caused undue stress to any one of the races in Guyana. He was the father of the nation. He made certain that when he did things, he enhanced everybody's lives. I hope the Public Service Union could join the strike, because on May Day rally, for those who went there, some teachers were not the place, people out get little bit and so. Those that were there, the man who represented Patrick Yard, the doctor, spoke about the low wages of the medical facility. And I hope that in this juncture, after he's saying what he said on last week, Wednesday, that it must bear fruit and they must come out and join with the teachers in a fight for proper wages, allowances, and everything in this island state. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. Yeah, so those of you who offered me the names of the biscuits, yes, indeed, I remember. I was trying to remember Crispy. I love Crispy biscuits. Yes, Crispy was the one. It used to be in a plastic and it used to also be in cans. I love Crispy biscuits. And Breaker Day, yes, I remember those biscuits. So these either too young to know or dishonest people who come here telling us nonsense. Flash Garden Sam was the bar night, but not last night. Good. I just found a video. Of course, I didn't get to look at it. Where is it? I didn't get to look at it. Preview, as we see. I didn't get to preview it. But that's how I am. And my guess is some of the very things I said to you, you might hear on this video. It's about 40 minutes long, about 50 minutes long. But I'm going to spend a little time with you this morning. It's almost 9 o'clock. To listen to this video because this was Patterson explaining more about he was giving latest updates on the Demerara Bridge, the new Demerara Bridge. So I'll play that video for you just now. Call your live. Call your live.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki, and good morning to all listeners. First of all, I support the teacher 100%. And right now, I pray for them. I pray this. Teachers, Father God, here is your people once again coming out for what is right, standing up for what is legally due to them, Lord God. And so I pray this morning that you will, for them, make every crooked way straight, Father God, and you will guide them, cover them under your blood. And I pray also, Lord, that you will give them the victory at the end of it all. Build everyone's mind and courage, Lord God, to stand up against this tyranny of a government. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Now, this guy Ejil, right? He went to the place there where they want to build the bridge. I can't remember his name. And Peter Zab, he said to the lady, right, that he didn't subscribe to that 3 months notice thing when the lady said giving you 3 months to move out. He didn't subscribe to that. But yet he is the one who go in and deliver the note. The letter or the note to the woman. He didn't subscribe to that, but he's still going there. When you see how these people there are so big, jackass and stooge. Eh? And then he said again, oh, the only thing that didn't finalize is the price. The price for the people that land. But yet still, you want the woman for signing something. These people, which God these guys are really sorbet? That is what I want from them. Which God they really sorbet? Anyway, these guys are really making themselves some, they're bringing disgrace to black people. Trust me. He, big in the government, whacked himself and going to this woman's house with this kind of story, this kind of fraudulent and bully. Am I right to say bullyism and terrorism? Eh? Look at these people, them, boy. Look at these people, them. Black people, stand up. Stand up for what you believe. Stand up for your right. I rather die for my right, because when I die for my right, I know I gonna go to the right place, because God will know that I stand up. I gonna get eternal life. I believe in that. I stand up for my right and die for my right. I gonna get eternal life. I can't to the Christian world, right? Now this man, Frank Anthony, he's another one. He telling the nurse them that they wouldn't see the benefits, now of the healthcare system. They wouldn't see benefits now, but he getting all the benefits straight. He only short, he only cut. In no way, he getting his straight benefit. But you don't tell them, oh, see, I want to tell the nurses something. Don't be intimidated by what they say they're bringing in people from Bangladesh and so on. So because you all hear that, oh, we're going to lose your job or your work. Stand up for your rights. Stand up. There ain't nobody determine where the life going to be or where things going to go in another 3 days, another 10 days or what. Stand up for your rights. Don't make them intimidate with no stupidness. Then he's saying to them, oh, we want everybody to get like to give their suggestions and so on to improve care in Guyana. Well, let me tell you, Let me speak for them because Patrick Yard is speaking for them. You know how they improve healthcare? They need their salary raised. They need more money. That chicken feed money why I give them there. That can't mind them. It is unfair. It is wicked. And all I hear some bare-faced demon. The whole PPP government. The black man, them are the worst. Me say so. Them are the worst because I don't know what shame. They don't. I don't even. I'm so ignorant. I'm so vexed that I can't even say what I want to say this morning. Trust me. That's why we got to still fight for biometrics and a clean voters list. That is the first fight where we got to carry on. Because if that happens, the real fight going to start after that. Trust me. We got to fight for that one day. Biometrics and a clean voters list for now. And we also got to fight for diversity, equity, and inclusive governance for all people in Ghana. For all. This thing is real. This thing is not no joke. Those people, because the PPP got the money in their hand, they think they're floating on cloud nine, all the power. We're going to impoverish the country, and then we're going to use them back. We're going to take them, and we're going to use them when we want them for do anything, call them and give them a $40,000 or $100,000 and make them go and stand up and do something and terrorize people and all these things. But I'm going to tell you, you're turn back for Ontario. I'm waiting, you're going to turn back for Ontario. And this is all I got to say this morning.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you for allowing me to express myself.
You have some voice notes. Let's go to some voice notes.
A very blessed good morning to you, Mr. Kadaki.
Follow the line.
And those who are in and out of the diaspora. May God bless our soul, Lord, and bless our family and our generation. I want to say to the Guyanese nation, especially parents, I'm calling upon us parents, if I say us, me included, that we need to support the teachers. We need to give them support on this strike that they're there. I'm also calling on the rest of the union, them, to stand in solidarity, to stand in support of the teachers. All the public service workers need to come out. This is presumptuously wicked, and this should never occur in this country. It's amazing to see how they could stifle the teachers from a living wage. If they can do it to our children, our teachers, what they're going to do to us? I hope the Guyanese take warning and see what is going on and stand up against the wrong and stand up for the right. The doctors, the nurses, they need to come out also. The police, the soldiers, and them need to join after a while because all are consumed, all are involved, all are consumed, and we all in one ship. And don't allow this government to do what they want to do over our life. We are the one who's supposed to make the decision, and then the government adhere to it. The government is working for the Guyanese nation. That's what is. We elect a government to serve us. We elect the police force to serve and protect us. So, Guyanese, once again, Mr. Kadaki, God bless you, God bless your program, and have a blessed day. I have to be at home now with my little son. Say good morning.
Good morning.
You see, my little child is at home. The next one just gone up because the school is being closed. At least teachers have to strike. Teachers have to eat. They got to survive. And so are my children. I hope that the PPP government is taking warning. Why y'all are so cruel to give people a living wage? Why are y'all so cruel with all this ideal? Have a blessed day, Kayana. Have a blessed day, Mr. Kadaki.
Thank you for that voice note. Call it live.
Good morning. It is most appalling to see how some of our people is operating. We don't read much. We're not trying to learn the history of our people, where we were, where we are now, and what we can do to avoid returning to the ignorance that was once there. I watched some of our black brothers and sisters joining with these people who what we are known to me, but themselves. That is how our foreparents were enslaved, because they used some of the black brothers who are heads of different tribes. And what they did, they influenced them in such a way that they started selling their brothers, causing us, our foreparents, to be in the position they were in. And they had to fight all over again to free themselves. Now here it is. What is wrong with us? We cannot see the same trend these people are using to put us against each other. You can't see that? Huh? Why can't we see that? Now look what they're trying to do. They're trying to mash you educationally. They try to demoralize those children and the teachers in such a way that they can have the control of. They put a foolish woman there at the head of the educational system who don't have no sense of direction. If you ask her what caused her to be there, who gave her, who created the educational system in such a way that they all could have been educated, they will not see. The same Box Bonham that they were trying to say was a dictator. Yes, I can say he was a dictator because he didn't want the PPP to go there, because he didn't rig the election, because he didn't want the PPP to go there, because he said they already have the economical power. If they get political power, what would they do? And it's the same thing facing us today. And white black people don't understand it because they don't read. They don't read. I was always told education is the foot for you to walk on. Walk with it. But no, they're taking it. They can't remember what happened 2 years ago because how they're so stupid. You're going to hook up with the people that just died in their own? Where are we going? Huh? It is time that the black people start thinking, coming together as a body, and start rebelling against these people. These people are there just to steal. As I said, one was saying to me, a friend was saying to me, Jack, you're only politician. I said, politician, Jack is not a politician. Jack is the thing. That is all they're doing. You would tell me all these money passes through their hands. And until now, they cannot get these people to start them talking about bringing people from Bangladesh to nurse in our country. Huh? Then before they get the nurses to keep them in the country a little more money, the money's there now. Give the people it. You're bringing other people to inherit our riches. That's what forebears slave for. I pray to God that your eyes will open. He and all his colleagues. And look what he's doing. He's putting the black brothers, trample on the black brothers. We're back into the slavery mood. Back into it. Then that should be. I pray to God that one of these days the eyes will open to understand where this country is going and who's taking it there. The people who are taking it there is ourselves. We are taking it there because we are not standing against it. So who are taking it? Us. Understand, my brother? Let the people start thinking. As Bonham said, the only time that people think is when the back against the wall. And it's a true saying. I pray to God that it change the whole concept of how they're living. My brother, keep the program alive, keep it going. Try to sensitize these persons that we have who are lost. See how good we will get them back together. Okay? Have a blessed morning, sir.
Thank you for your call. We have a voice note. We're going to go a little late. There are lots of voice notes. I prefer if you don't take more calls now. Let's just get the voice notes out of the way, and then we can come back to the calls. Tomorrow is Free Talk Friday, so you will get the opportunity to call tomorrow.
Good morning, Mr. Gaddafi. Good morning. Concerning the strike with teachers, I believe this government really overdoing it now. Time up, enough is enough. You understand? People, children have to go to school. Well, I have a 17-year-old right in CXC, and I only hope it would not go him. Because me myself don't gotta find time and go with them protest because me making no joke, because first thing first I don't have private school. And my son writing 9 subjects. And I have to pay for that. You understand? And pre-manager don't have no feelings for nobody children. Nobody children she don't have feelings for. You understand? Because if she had feelings, she would have been better. Because you know why looking at with this government, they like to talk about race and demeration. Why every time the sugar workers them got a problem, the government showing the belly all out for the sugar workers and Gau and them. I set a big old men.
Sorry for that. Let's continue with this voice note.
Young, vibrant children. You understand? Nobody cares nothing about them. You understand? Among these children, we got liar, we got doctor, we got nurses, we got teachers, we got liar, we got magistrate, we got everything around them. We might get the next president in time to come and they're treating them like that. And these big old men, these sugar workers, they're all out for them. What is it with them and these sugar workers? Who going on? You understand? It's real hard in the country would be when we sit down and we think about these people, we accepting a whole lot of nonsense from these people, you know. Enough is enough going on in this country. That is my contribution, and right now I'm real mad about it. Because nobody doing nothing about it. Every minute is strike. Pay the people and let it go back to work and teach people children, man. You understand? They got some children that all of them could hold it up. Some of them in the store, my little couple weeks, couple months, they drop right back. You know the amount of work them teacher got put there for bring them back in line when they go back to school. It ain't easy. It is not easy.
It certainly is not easy, and that's a virgin caller. That's a first-time caller. Thank you for adding your voice, sis. Thank you for adding your voice.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. You know, when you think about the government of Guyana, they are really, really wicked. Really wicked and evil to Afro-Guyanese, the way they're treating them. And if you listen to Mr. Bork, what he said is when they are crafting their projects, they are doing it in a way where it can take away African Guyanese house and the land. That is how they crafting most of these projects. As the lady said yesterday, she in mind development, but you can't treat one good and then you treat the other one bad. Okay, and Guyanese need to stand up. They need to stand up to them. Now I see the president of GTU saying the call was made for teachers to go overseas. And he said a lot of teachers going to leave. You know, a lot of teachers is going to leave. What they're asking for a 2-year bachelor degree and 2 years experience. So I don't know. It's a sad situation in Guyana. And Guyanese, they got to stand up. They have to stand up. That's my take for today.
Thank you for your take.
The woman should have had a son like me. This morning, the police would have been looking for me. Yeah, and they just would have got a patch in here. Yeah, tell you, and all who they wrong would have got some real marble stone. This is what I would have do them.
It sounds like this caller talking about some road apples. You want boss here like Ralph? Uladoy. I remember when Ralph get head boss.
Kadapi, good morning. My take is this. Presently now, the people not supposed to strike for raise pay, better wages, better life, or nothing like that. Right now, black people has to strike to get the PPP out of power. There's racists, there's murderers, there's thieves. They're taking all the land, all those highways, the building, they're putting up all these big look at Lagos home and all this land that fence and it's acres upon acres and they're taking for all even the black people here, they're taking everything. They're stifling black people, they're making it make the nurses run out of Guyana and then they bring in nurses from Pakistan. They want to cut down on the black race and they want to build up the Indian race that must always be majority and all these black house slaves that is working for them and oh jeez. I wonder if they have a life, if they have children, if they have wife, if they have mother and father that are telling them this is what they're doing is wrong. The police them supposed to get serious. I think we're supposed to close on the country. Every black person excepting including the house slaves them. They need to go on the road, carry the vehicle, the car, the truck, the bus, the whole house, everything, and through on all the major roads, block all the 8 entrances, them, all, even the police, them, the parents supposed to, or the family supposed to talk them in the night and tell them, listen, we out here to get rid of people, don't go and harass your black parents because these people don't care about value. They want to kill one another and they take over the country and get the people out of government into jail. That's my tip.
Thank you, caller. I wouldn't say anything about that message. It sounds like a recipe for something or other, but it's not.
Good morning, Kadakian listeners. First of all, I want to publicly state that I stand with the teachers. I pray that whatever their endeavors are, that they will be successful. I stand with the teachers. I want to ask the parents who have the time to please go out and support the teachers with the strike. I'm sure it won't be for one day, so if you can't make it today, you can make it another day. The teachers need your support. I want to urge all the persons, I should say, to assist the teachers in whatever way they can. If we can have some contributions to the live feed so that the general public will be able to share it as far and wide as possible. They will also need like top-ups for their phones. The leaders will need top-ups for their phone. If we can look into our hearts and contribute towards that. As it pertains to other contributions, I will wait to see what the others in the diaspora will do to support our teachers. I don't know where Patrick Yard is, but personally I feel he's a lost cause and he shouldn't be leading the nurses and their unions. I want to urge the other unions to go out and support our teachers. Now, that disrespect that was displayed by the People's Progressive Party at their conference for teachers, it is very distasteful. And for some reason, I think the IPA has gone too far, and we, the people, have to do something about it. And we have to do something about it because it's becoming overbearing now. So I'm going to wait to see what will happen and how that disrespect will be dealt with. That's all I will say for now. Another thing, Kadaki, sorry about that. Another thing is that, let's see, competition. What are they trying to imply? That the children don't get food? Are they subscribing to the hungry belly mantra with that thing? Why it is that it only had to be a black child on that advertisement? That too is not very good, and I'm very upset about that.
I wonder who will agree for the picnic up on the advertisement. I wonder if it's one of the education officials' child. You know? Vice note coming up.
More Mr. Amsterdam, and a blessed good morning to the entire Guyana and the listening viewers around. I must applaud you. Like I always said, had it not been for this show, we would have been dead, rotten, and done dissolve in the earth. Praise the Lord for this show. And just like how you preach, you take your precious time on a daily basis to preach the good word and what is going on in we beloved country. The first thing, we don't even have the population of 1 million, and we got to go through all these atrocities that reaching out to us. Mr. Kadaki, God gonna bless you. And you have nowhere to go. God gonna see you through. But this thinking, rotten, covetous, and thieving government, the day of reckoning gonna be on them. They got a whole saying that the mouth that eats salt and pepper, when it costs you, it is a real course. Bharat Anel, Priya, and all of them, what they really feel, that essay program that you're talking about. Look, a relative of mine, my aunt daughter want to go and do nursing. I said, I'm going to help you with a laptop. I ship bike down. I give my cousin bike at a reasonable cost. What these people really tell themselves? A laptop, a bike, and a backpack with food inside? Let it take them, push it up in their asshole where sun don't shine. What they think is it at all? People don't know about stuff. And I always said, we and people in the diaspora should just send in these things, come together and send in them things for the children them. Keep it honesty. Let pray that keep that shit. What they think is it at all? People aren't them out. We got to learn to cuddle one another and help out the situation. Like I was looking at a program with Shara Duncan with a young woman that was born in Belladrum or somewhere around the Barbies there. I took that number because even if is it at $20, I'm gonna send it. We got to do better than that. We gotta be our brother keeper. And people must always remember for this upcoming general election, a vote for Mohammed is a vote for the PPP. Do not vote for the Mohammeds. Do not. Guyanese, hop and harm in your game. Do not vote for the Mohammed. Like you got the drugs people them, who does support them, to vote for him. Don't take things light. A vote for Mohammed is a vote for If on them. All your focus. You have a blessed day, and God will protect you always. We love you, brother. Continue good works.
Voice note.
Mr. Kadaki, good morning. You know what frets me? Let me call out some parents that are sending their children, even though they know there is a strike on from today. They are sending those children to school. What it is, if these teachers that are
finding themselves in school, they're not going to do anything for your children. You're sending your children at disadvantage. If something happens to them, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say they're on strike. Okay? Parents, why can't you keep your children at home until things become normal in the school system? Secondly, these people are very disrespectful to black people and people as a whole in Guyana this moment. What it is make they have to put up these breakfasts and this lunch, what these children are going to be given to these children on Facebook and all over the place. Even if you're giving lunch to the children, you could say that. You don't have to put up what you're giving them to eat and all these sort of embarrassing nonsense. If I personally had a school age child, you know what I would have done? Of eating any nonsense that they're giving them there. I mean, some people glad for it or whatever it is, but then at the same time, sometimes you just gotta give God, let God be a source. And forget these things that these people come in as if they're taking this money out of their pockets to do it. That is why they're getting disrespectful, and more and mostly African Guyanese are behind these people disrespect. School is not there. There is a strike, teacher strike, and you send your child to school. Why y'all can't allow the teachers them to make the strike impactful and keep the children at home? The next thing, look and see who will be sending the children to school. Just take a look and see who will be sending their children to school. One of them, the teachers are Indian, and she telling them come to school. Yeah, because she already made up her mind. I'm not going to go on no strikes, but I want to be forced in receiving. That is them all the time. They're not going to strike because it's we government. They're punishing like hell, but they ain't going to strike. They want you strike for them. What is going to happen that same one's going to sorry. They're going to be so sorry. And they can't help it. I am so fed up with people's behavior. It is not doing anything properly for people. What is the embracing of them? What are you embracing? What are you embracing? Could you ask yourself that question? If many sit down and ask themselves that question, the answer is going to be nothing. People, y'all get real and stand up for your rights in this place.
Thank you for that voice note. Let me say this. On this voice note is saying that an Indian teacher said that she is not striking. Let the children go to school. There can be no surprise there. One of the things I consistently do and I encourage you to do is to, and that is why I replay the previous day's program. Because I don't speak in a vacuum. I always try to give you context. Didn't I say to you last week, or perhaps early in this week, that the PPP invited all of the Indo-Guyanese teachers, especially from Monterey Post Primary, to go to the Ministry of Housing for land, whether they had applied or not. They invited every single one of them to go for land. Why? Because they're trying to divide and rule. They're trying to break the backs of the union. They're trying to break the resilience of the teachers. If we get Indo-Guyanese teachers, we pull them out and we carry them and we give them land, it's hush money. Right? The names are there as applicants to land, which we promised them. And so they will not want to strike because we know their names are there. And if they strike, then they will be thinking in their minds that here, they're not going to give us the land. Now, let me say something else to you. Ask the members of the Guyana Police Force and the members of the Guyana Defense Force if they have gotten the lands that this government promised them since Noah was born. And promises are comfort to fools. But the current administration is using promises, number one, coercion, number two, and all kinds of what should I say? Wicked tactics to get parents to get the teachers not to support the strike action. But I'm saying again, teachers, be resilient. Be resilient. Let me play that video for you. Or should I play that video tomorrow? I think I'll play that video tomorrow. We'll start the program tomorrow with Patterson's discussion of the Demerara Harbor Bridge on the program Insight. Right? We'll talk about that later. Because it's 26 minutes to 10 already. And I have to go. Have a good day, y'all. Have a good day. Remember to support your teachers. Remember to support your teachers. Remember to support your teachers. Have a good day. Much love. Goodbye.